Welcome again to Ham Radio Perspectives. I'm Quin, K8 Queen Sugar.
Hey, and I'm Tom, WA9TDD.
And at Ham Radio Perspectives, we look at the intersection of ham radio history, culture, and technology. We've got all of our videos on YouTube. You can go there and subscribe if you'd like. If not, that's fine too. But our goal is to serve the hobby. And that's what we're going to do again today, right, Tom?
That's right. We're going to serve it up on a plate.
On a plate. Okay. Well, so here's our topic: 14 common phone mistakes. Phone meaning like AM, FM, sideband. You get it. And what did you say? Common mistakes that we all tend to engage in here or there. And I picked a lot of these up in my early days as a ham when I was still running around with my Night Kit C100 walkie-talkie, Tom.
Yeah, I had one of those too. And I made most of the mistakes we're going to talk about.
Yeah. Sometimes we still do. But at any rate,
and a few more.
Yeah, join us. So take a listen to what we have to say on these things. We're just trying to serve the ham community. We're not trying to blame people or whatever. It's kind of fun to improve our communication. After all, we're in communication hobby. So number one mistake, blunder, whatever, your signal report is S10. What's wrong with that, Tom?
Well, it's just misunderstanding the S meter readings. That's actually your 10 dB over S9. But, even at S10 is an engineering shorthand for stating the signal report is S9 plus 20 times the log of base 10 log power output versus power input.
Come on, Tom, don't. You're making things worse. It's very simple. We've got S meters, or we got the little LEDs, whatever. It goes up to a 9. That means 9 S units. Each S unit is 6 dB. And then normally it will show amounts over S9. So a 10 is not the same in S9. 10 means 10 dB over S9. So the report would be, as you see in the bottom of the screen here, your signal report is 10. That is 10 dB over a 9 or over 9 S units.
And everybody's got a stingy S meter.
Yeah. And one of the things that's happening, S meters are notoriously inaccurate anyway. And they vary from rig to rig unless you get the really super duper high end rigs where, they're really calibrated perfectly as they can be. But at any rate, when you come from CW to phone, if you're fairly new to phone, look at it this way. Give it like your S7 or your S9 and then number of dB above S9. Number 2, good signal there.
Yeah, overuse of the word there. Hey, they're running a Johnson Marauder there. I love this Gotham antenna there. Don't you know?
Don't you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
This is a sub-dialect of American English known as the Upper Midwest. It's particular to Minnesota and that rare North Dakota's DX signal. And it's usually followed up with don't you know?
Hey, what do you mean there?
Don't you know?
Oh, okay, you rascal. Hey, we're both Upper Midwest, so I resent that a little bit, but I'll take it anyway. The point is here, don't overuse there. You're here, and good communication doesn't require that. Number 3, 73s.
Hey, 73s there, Clem, or even better, a many 73 there, QSL, and I'm sending you the bestest and the mostest of my bestest regards.
Yeah, I think what happened here, Tom, was 73, of course, comes from CW, and it means best regards. And then some phone operators, when they started on phone, they started using 73s as if it's best regardses. But 73 is all you really need to say. Or you could say 7-3 at the end, or 7-tree. How about that?
How about 7/3?
Okay, but you get the point here. We don't need 73s with the S on. Most hams are going to know what you mean. They're not going to get upset about it. The first time I heard this, Tom, actually was in the 70s with our buddy from Chicago, Bob, who came from CB. And he used to say 73s all the time. And I always figured that because he didn't come up through the hobby learning the Morse code where you say just 7-3, he probably learned from CB 73s. And then that was a kind of a hobby or a tendency that he had when he got on phone too in the ham hobby.
So just watch who your mentor is.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay, we can all correct ourselves on that. Number 4, CQ, CQ, CQ. QRZ?
Is the frequency in use QRZ? Are you referring to look up my online profile on QRZ, or is there anybody out there?
Well, QRZ means, is anybody calling me? And so when you call CQ, you don't need to add a QRZ on the end. Just call the CQ. Now, if you hear somebody calling you after a few times back and forth, but you can't quite get their signal and you want them to repeat their call, to call you again, then you might say QRZ and they can call you back. But normally you don't need that.
And I think it's appropriate to use, if you're checking on a clear frequency, to call QRZ as a frequency in use. I think that's a fair usage of the term QRZ.
Okay, so you and I can disagree on that because nobody is calling you. So how can you say QRZ? Is anybody calling me? All right. So the point here is that we can disagree about these things as hams. We want to have the best possible communication. All right. Number 5, QSL. Roger. Hey, Tom, QSL.
Hey, guy, QSL.
Roger.
Are you ending your transmission, or are you asking me to Roger, or are you asking me to confirm your reception, or?
What are you asking?
Gosh, I don't know. What are you asking?
Yeah, so this is the kind of thing we get into where some hams, for reasons that are unknown, at the end of each little transmission, they will say QSL or QSL there or Roger, as if the other person can't say whether or not they've rogered or copied it anyway. The QSL means to copy or understand, but we don't normally need to use those unless for some reason there's a problem and we want to make sure the other person copied things okay. Number 6.
Silence. Silence is golden, except when you're in a QSO. That reminds us of our old friend RCQ, who fell asleep at the round tables, and the only way you knew he was alive was a snoring keyed the mic.
Yeah. So silence is a problem, isn't it? If we go too long without letting people know we're there, and for some reason people are putting more and more silence into their sideband QSOs. I've noticed this especially on 40 meters for some reason. And I'm thinking to myself, oh no, their amplifier blew up or their antenna came down or something.
Well, particularly in the solar cycle right now, you don't know if the signal faded away or they're still living and breathing on the other end of the line.
CQ, 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 WA9 TDD. So I hear these kinds of CQs all the time. What's wrong with those, Tom?
Well, the fact is that you're calling CQ, but you're not listening at the end of the CQ to see if anybody's responding to you. We've heard stations calling CQ for 5 minutes and IDing once and not even listening for 5 seconds to see if they're getting a response. So it's just clogging up the airwaves.
And you can't tell when somebody is listening. So they're just saying CQ all the time. I've been hearing this lately again on 40 quite a bit for some reason. CQ in the evening, CQ, 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 give a call, CQ, 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 give a call. And I'm thinking, are they listening between the times they give their call? Or what's going on here? So if you end a CQ with something like, this is K8QS listening or monitoring or standing by, then the other people know to give you a call. Number 8.
WA9 TDD from K8QS. Sounds awkward, doesn't it?
Well, you are WA9 TDD, so you should be giving your call last. We always give our own call last. Or if we're in a lengthy contact with somebody on phone and we just give our own call once now and again, that's fine too. But if you're giving multiple calls, always give your own call last, just as you would on CW.
Right, and particularly if you're in a round table and you've got 6, 7, 8 guys and you're passing it from one to the other during the round table, it gets not only irritating but very confusing on who you're passing it off to.
Yep. So give your own call last. Number 9. So how do you copy, buddy? How do you copy me today, eh? Out there, how is it in New Jersey?
Yeah, I don't know, but boy, my ALC meter has got a lot of swing to it.
this is
Yeah.
amazing, isn't it? People think that they're going to be more intelligible on phone if they yell. I've heard guys lately, again on 40 meters, that are 10 kilohertz wide, man. They're ALC, they're mic gain, they're jacking everything all around, thinking that people are going to understand them better, or they're going to get through or whatever. And then ironically, so how do you copy? You're 40 over 9 here, 40 over S9 here in the beautiful Grand Rapids, Michigan, where it's 412 below and lake effect snow, 3 feet of snow. But it's a lovely day to be on here, warming up my hands on the 8. Boom! Oh, the 11s just went. Sorry, I shouldn't have been talking so loud.
Yeah, but do you copy?
You copy. Whoop, number 10. Hey, Tom, just a minute. Let me see if I'm doubling with somebody.
Hey, Quin, when did HF become duplex? Or is that what double sideband is all about?
Yeah, doubling. So you're talking on top of one another, or 3 people talking at the same time, tripling. And rather than saying, let me see if I'm doubling, just stop for a second and listen. In fact, you might just say a couple of words and then listen again real quickly to see if anybody's there. If you're not using Vox, just, hey, let up on that switch a little bit, take a listen. It's funny in these roundtables lately, Tom, I've heard people just repeatedly saying they're going to wait and see if they're doubling or not. Why have a QSO? Why don't we all just do nothing but ask if we're doubling? Hey, Tom, am I doubling?
I can't hear you, Quin. I'm doubling with you.
Yeah, I'm doubling with you, too. Let's double a little bit here. Rah, 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 rah. Okay, number 11. Hi, hi. That was funny. Hi, hi.
Yeah, that was a real knee slapper, Quin. Yeah, but I'm not quite ready for stand-up.
Yeah, so we say hi, hi. Again, it's a carryover from CW, continuous wave, Morse code. Say hi, hi. Did it, hi, hi. And usually it's 2. Occasionally somebody will give a 3 if they think they're really funny. Hi, hi, hi. But we don't need that on phone. In fact, most of the time when I hear people using hi, 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 or hi, hi, they're not funny. So let's be funny rather than say hi, hi. Just like you and I, Tom, we're funny all the time. Hi, hi.
You are the funniest people we know.
Yeah, right. So we think.
Okay.
Hey, I tell you what we're running here. We're running an antenna, and we've got some great weather here today. We've got our casts on our hands because we fell off the tower. We're having a doozy of a day here, Tom.
Yeah, that's irritating at best. But Quinn, I think that may have originated with the fact that at one time licenses were both for station and the operator. So it may be referring to both the station and the operator. However, it is kind of creepy.
All right. Although when somebody says we're running an IC 7300, it probably means because the other station is running one too.
Or they're doubling.
Or doubling. Yeah. Hey, 5'9" in Louisville, Tom. 5'9" in Louisville. Did I tell you it's you're 5'9" in Louisville? We're running 5'9" in Louisville.
Hey, Quinn, I'm glad you're repeating the 5'9" signal report on me in Louisville, but you're 5'2" here in Baltimore.
Yeah, that's because I blew my finals shouting. My 811s are dead, but you don't need to repeat all the time unless it's necessary. So again, it's a common habit we get into, repeating all the time. In fact, usually with phone, it's better early on just to give your name and the signal report, maybe the location once, especially if it's on a higher HF band where you want them to move their antenna around a little bit, and then flip it right over to them and see if they're copying fine before you start getting into copying. If they're not copying you fine and you need to come back and repeat things, then repeat. But don't start out repeating everything and then continue repeating. Okay.
Number 14. Hey, this is WA9TDD for ID.
This is K8QS for ID.
So why would I be just dropping my call sign out there if it wasn't to identify my station?
So the point here is we normally don't need to say for ID. Once we ID, we give our call. This is K8QS from Ham Radio Perspectives, right?
And I'm WA9TDD.
All right. What did you say? 14 common phone mistakes. We disagree a little bit on some of these. We're not going to get upset if we work you and you say 73s, but consider what we have to say here to improve our intelligibility to the extent that any of us hams can be intelligible with other hams. This is Ham Radio Perspectives. I'm Quin, K8QS.
And I'm Tom, WA9TDD. Have a pleasant day.
And 73.
3.